Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Live Magic Q&A with me, Madame Pamita, and my special guests. Every week we have a different special guest. Sometimes it's just me, but most weeks we have a special guest. And it's a free Q&A tea party that we have here every Sunday, except for the first Sunday of the month. It takes place on Sundays at 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you can watch this as a live free Zoom meeting and get your questions in, and then I post the recording later on YouTube and you can find it up on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube now and you want to join us live, it's a very easy thing to do. All you have to do is go to spellsquad.com, sign up. You'll get the link that's good for every session. We use the same link until from here to eternity, or if I have to change it for some reason, but we use the same link every week. And you'll get a reminder in your email every Sunday around 4 p.m., about an hour before we have our show. You'll get a reminder about the show and the link. You'll see who the special guest is. And it's always fun. We always have an amazing time. So if you are just stumbling upon this and you're on YouTube and you go, what the heck is going on? Who is this lady with the snappy top hat on? I'm Madame Pamita. You can find me on YouTube at madamepamita.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Madame Pamita. I also have a website, parlorofwonders.com, where I do readings. I sell magical tools. I make candles. I make oils. I do all kinds of magical things. And I have literally a ton of free resources over there. There's a whole section of resources for you, teaching you how to do magic, how to do spells, about connecting with spirit guides, all kinds of stuff, a podcast, YouTube videos, and blog, and all kinds of things, how-to guides, all kinds of stuff over there. And it's all free. I have some things coming up, and like I kind of hinted at before, the first Sunday of the month, we are not doing the Q&A. That's the only day that I take off from the Live Magic Q&A. And the reason is I have a special paid workshop on the first Sunday of the month at the same time as the Q&A. So 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. We have a paid workshop. And next Sunday is my paid workshop. It's going to be November 1st. So it's the first Sunday of the month, just after Halloween. And the class is going to be Get Started with Candle Spells. It is a powerful foundational magic class that's going to teach you how to do candle magic at the very foundational level. So it's not a beginner class per se, although a beginner can come in. It's teaching you how to break down a spell and start a spell from scratch. So even if you've done spells because you followed a recipe before or you've done that before, this class is going to blow your mind because it teaches you how to create a spell from scratch at the basic level, which is the foundational level. The next month, which will be December 6th, is the Advanced Candle Magic Secrets class, where we build on the knowledge that we have learned in November 1st, our beginning candle magic, getting started with candle spells class. So you're going to have the beginning class this coming Sunday, November 1st, and then the advanced class on December 6th. These classes will 100% sell out. I'm going to tell you they're going to sell out. And the reason is because of my new book that's out called The Book of Candle Magic. That book is brand new, just came out. You can get it every place, although Amazon is still saying that they're going to ship it in December. I don't know why. They've got their books and they're shipping them out. We have it at the Parlor of Wonders, and you can get it from your local bookstore. That's what I'm encouraging everyone to do is to go to their local bookstore, their local spiritual supply store, their local witchy store, local metaphysical store, and order this book from them to keep those guys afloat so that we have them when we need them. And when we are able to go back and sort of present and do classes and things like that all over the country, I'll have a place to come back to your town and teach you. So I'm encouraging people to do that. So that's it, the Book of Candle Magic. And because of this book, I know these candle magic classes are going to be selling out. So be sure to get your tickets early. Tickets are $40 for the workshop. And you're going to get 2 hours of amazing information on how to do a candle spell from scratch. So it's going to be a phenomenal, phenomenal class. And I hope you'll join me for those. Our guest today, so we're going to get to the show now. Our guest today is an amazing, amazing witchy girl, Creme Fatale. She's amazing drag artist, has a huge, enormous following on Instagram. People all over the world. She has an Etsy shop with stuff with her gorgeous pictures on them. I mean, you wouldn't do the pictures, but they're pictures of you in your amazing and totally creative, totally beautiful costumes. her Instagram itself is just, you can get lost in it. I was just doing that like this week. I was like looking at pictures, like mesmerized, looking at pictures of you and your amazing, gorgeous makeup. You do not only your makeup for yourself, but you do makeups for other drag artists and things like that. So you are just an amazing icon, and we know each other in person because you used to come to my shop. So first of all, I want to say welcome, Creme Fatale, for coming and gracing us with your presence on your actual birthday. It's your birthday today. We gave you an excuse to dress up for your birthday, right?
I know, exactly. This is how I'm going to blow out my candles this year.
Oh, I love it. I love it. You'll have to post a picture of that. Oh my gosh. You're beautiful Scorpio, magical Scorpio. So let's talk a little bit about, first of all, your amazing style and your amazing, I mean, you have I think a very unique style that is all your own. Like I think, I could see somebody's else's makeup and I could tell if you did that makeup. I feel like that. Do you think that's the case?
feel like definitely over the years, I've definitely seen a lot of people that have been either directly influenced or indirectly influenced by my character and like the way that I do my makeup. It's definitely been more prevalent over the past few years.
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
so beautiful because I think you do what I think of as like you kind of take themes for your makeup sometimes. Like the last one that you did was like a little banana with little yellow freckles, and then you did a candy corn, and
Mhm.
then so you take these like themes and do like a mashup between the object or the thing and your makeup. Watermelon. I mean, maybe food is a theme. I don't know.
It might be. I think it's really fun. I feel like whereas like a normal or like average makeup artist will see like a candy corn and be like, "Oh, I'll do candy corn colored eyeshadow on my eyes. That's gonna be like my Halloween look." I'm just like, I'm gonna become the candy corn, like
Yeah,
my
it's
whole
like
body. Yeah.
I'm almost saying it's like if I were to look at it from a magical perspective, it's shape shifting. You're shape
Yeah.
shifting into these objects and creatures, and it's some it's almost kind of somewhere. It's not cosplay though. I don't feel like it's cosplay-ish. It's art and drag in a way that really is so creative and beautiful and absolutely mesmerizing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not really for a cosplay. I very rarely like take direct inspiration from something that already exists, like a character or like
Yeah.
something fantasy related. But for the most part, it's just like me becoming a persona of something that I have an idea of.
It's like you're not the first drag performer that I've had on the show. Delta Work has been on the show. Madame Ozma has been on the show. You're my third. But I kind of I'm fascinated. I love drag to begin with, and I've always loved drag. I love it because I just love it as a performance thing, and it's just completely, I don't know, it just fascinates me in general.
Mhm.
But I also see that, and I've talked with every drag performer I've had on about this intersection where spirituality and drag meet. And I feel like there is this intersection where they meet. There's this intersectionality of those two concepts of
Mhm.
magicians and performance and costume and ritual and magic. So what are your thoughts about that? Do you see that or think about that or?
No, I completely believe it, and even more so because in my drag house that I grew up doing drag in San Francisco was the House of Tips. My drag mother, Laundra Time, and my other drag mother, Scarlet Letters, they were both witches also. So what their main thing was doing spells in their performances. So whether that was hiding herbs inside their wigs, writing petitions inside the costume as they're performing out their spell, which nobody in the audience would know about. Obviously, it was for them, but that was how they did their magic. And I've definitely taken from that once uh, every few performances or so I've done that as well. So I definitely learned that through them. It was just a way that I never really saw it, but even just the act of transformation, it's like it's actual, like, literal manifestation, becoming something that has the quality that you want. So it's like I want to look like something that's powerful, or something that's fragile and kind and small, and or something magical. I want to become that. You can physically make yourself look that way so that you feel that energy and you're able to, accomplish what you want. And I think that for me, especially, drag gave me my power. I think that before I started doing drag, I was very almost like meek. I had a lot of trouble expressing myself, and being able to do drag and to turn into something else, completely not even somebody else, a totally different being, gave me the ability to express myself even out of drag a lot more, because I was manifesting a character that was confident and was strong. So I eventually became that.
It's so amazing. I mean, I think of that whole, oh, here comes the cone girl. I promised you guys a, look, there she
Oh,
is. Oh my God, she's such a wild child. I'm going to go off on a tangent here. I promised her if she got fixed that I would let her and chipped, I would let her go outside after she got healed up and then the cones off. So that was my bribe to get her. And she was fine going to the vet after I told her that she had no problem going to the
oh.
vet. And the vet said she was perfect in there. So I think she really wants to go out like her big sister goes outside, and she hasn't been allowed to go outside. So
Oh.
I think she's ready for it after she heals up a little bit. Um, I think of that whole thing of like when you are doing any kind of I mean I'm also a performer, music performer, and I think of that idea of like you can show up and play your music in jeans and a t-shirt, or you can kind of put on a costume and put on makeup and not show up like a schlepper. Sometimes I've done, believe me, I've done that too. But if you put on a costume, it's like putting on ritual clothes before a group ritual, or before you do magic, putting on the ritual of changing your clothes in some way. I see that correlation there. But in the case of your drag, well, and I think in the case of all drag, but in particular your drag, it's shape shifting.
Mhm.
I'm completely fascinated with shape shifting, and have done shape shifting in a different kind of a way than you do it, obviously.
Mhm.
Um, but doing shape shifting is to change and transform. And like you said, it transforms you.
Mhm.
You changed because of that, like because of the work that you did and because of the characters that you created.
Mhm.
And I think that is such a powerful that's a powerful thing to be doing, and it is a magical thing to be doing.
Mhm.
Love it. I love it so much. You're like such a beautiful fairy in your garden today, and you're magical.
I know, I love this backdrop.
I love it so much. Um, so in terms of like your own magical practice, you grew up with your house mothers, I'm just saying it
My
wrong,
drag
drag
mother,
mothers,
yeah.
drag mothers, house mother. What am I, it's the facts of life, I don't know what I'm saying. um with your drag mothers kind of showing you like the witchy ways of doing that, and as a performer that can be something quite powerful to be doing that magic before you do performance. You could do magic to make more tips, you could
Yeah.
do magic to bring more fame and attention and fans and followers. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can be doing, and it can be as simple as putting on an oil or drinking a tea or doing something with intention before you get started. And that personal ritual that you do can be amazing. Is there any kind of rituals that you've done for, or I mean, if you don't want to talk about them because they're secret and you're going to keep them, you don't have to share. But is there anything that you can think of that you would have done or might want to do to like um, support your career?
I've definitely done it a lot throughout my career personally. I definitely attribute magic to a lot of the success that I do have, just because I consider myself like a master manifester. So I will say things and have them happen like directly after I write in my journal every single night. Every single night, I've been doing that for years. Um, Taken breaks in between, but like gotten back to it every single time. Definitely petitions, candle spells. I've definitely done a bunch of candle spells, even in quarantine, like doing the digital shows. They're somehow just as nerve wracking as doing it in person, because you have people like live commenting as the performances are happening and you want people to like the content that you're producing. So I've definitely done spells to like help make this performance successful, help people love this performance, help people appreciate this, bring me success and receiving tips tonight. I've definitely done candle spells during shows, right before shows. I've even taken it on the road before when I was traveling. There was a period when I was traveling almost every single weekend for like a year. And I would bring candles with me sometimes if I was just feeling like low energy, something to like help me, push through the performance and give like a good performance. But there's been so many examples of me just even stating things that I want to accomplish at a certain time and then having them happen almost out of the blue, but not really because I've been asking for them for a while.
Yeah.
Um, there's the most obvious example that I can give is during, I think, my second drag con. It was the first one that I brought my drag moms to. They had never been to one before. And it was the morning after like it had ended, and the night that DragCon ended, I did this performance and it was like super successful at this huge theater. We were so excited and so happy. And in the car on the way to breakfast as I was driving, I said, I am going to do Sasha Velour's nightgowns show this year. That's my goal. I'm going to do it this year. And literally not 2 months later, I get an email from her team asking me to fly out to New York to do it. So that was just like a direct something that I just said out loud out into the universe among people that, wanted success for me as much as I wanted it, and having them all put that energy into it as well. Just completely manifested all of that.
Oh my gosh. That is exactly the example of like a master magician. A master magician, I say, doesn't need to have they can shift and change things with their thought and their word. I mean, the thought and word is all you need.
Mhm.
But most people, they do this. They go, I want to be on Sasha Velour's show, but she's never going to pick me. I'm not good
Yeah.
enough. Maybe, oh God, that, maybe I'll embarrass myself. You go one step forward and then you take one step backward again, whatever it is, whether it's love or job or money or career or fame or whatever it is that you're wanting. You put it out there and then you pull it back. Well, when you keep pushing something out and pulling it back, you don't make any progress forward. And so in those sorts of cases, I say, well, then you need that support of the candle. You need the support of the herbs and the teas and the mojo bags and the oils and things like that.
Mhm.
But sometimes you have this sort of energy that you were cultivating. Maybe it was the high of performing the night before and you were feeling all that energy and you just push that forward. And that's magic. That is magic in its like purest form.
That's
So you did it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I tell people when they ask about like how to manifest things. It's like literally writing the high of something that you are really happy, excited, just something that you've already done that makes you feel proud and accomplished. Writing the high and using that moment to ask for the next thing. Don't wait until that energy dies down because it's going to be hard to make yourself as excited as having that accomplishment under your belt. So I usually do that when I have accomplished something else. I'm like, okay, here's the next thing that I'm going to ask for. And I'm going to ask for it now because my energy is so high and I'm so happy. And I'm like filled with so much like love and like energy that I'm going to ask for the next thing right now. And, usually it comes.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think you just open those doors. And I also say there's sometimes if you have experience in doing magic, there's sometimes that you realize like I'm going to put out that thing and some of those things come very quickly. And
Mhm.
other things you may not see the result, but if you just leave them be, you'll eventually get that result. Like
Yeah.
if what you don't want to do is go, oh my God, it's not here now. Oh, it's not
Mhm.
coming, or I did something wrong.
Yeah.
That's a mistake. If I can say, people can't make a mistake, or spells can't quote unquote backfire. But
Yeah.
the mistake that people make, which is, I would say, nah, it's a mistake, is to go, I did the spell. Well, I'm not seeing my result. The spell didn't work.
Yeah.
And
It's
that's a mistake. That's more of a mistake than anything else that you can do. I used the wrong candle color, or I did I should have done this. I should have lived on a Thursday instead of a Friday or whatever. Those aren't mistakes. It's the mistake
yeah.
of going, I did it and it's not working.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have doubt because there's so much information out there on like doing magic, and like you said, like the candle color, the day of the week, those are all things that can help, but it's not going to be as effective as you believing in it and having the energy and putting it behind what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time, if people feel that they're not doing it correctly, they have so much doubt that it renders it almost like useless. That they aren't fully confident in what they're doing, which is the key. Like confidence is the key in magic, is knowing
Yeah.
what you want, knowing that this is how you're gonna get it, and continuing to put that energy forth. I feel like the only time that I've ever been like, okay, I'm not gonna do this is like, when something has exploded on me. And I'm like, okay, clearly you don't want this to happen. We're gonna move forward.
Well, yeah, I always say one of the things, the taglines that I always give is like perfect outcome and perfect timing.
Mhm.
Perfect outcome and perfect timing means I don't have to worry about the timing of when it's coming to me. And
Yeah.
I actually don't have to even worry about the specifics of the outcome,
Mhm.
because if that door slams in my face on something, oh well, that's fine. It wasn't my door. There's nothing behind the door. Not that I'm not good enough for what's behind the door, but is behind that door isn't what I really, really want.
Mhm.
So I think I look at it that way, and then that eases that angsty feeling that you have about spells and spell work, and is it working or is it not working? So yeah.
Mhm.
Well, you ready to get some questions?
Yeah, I see one right here from Maggie.
Well,
Uh,
yeah.
she said, "Can you redo the spell because you start to doubt if the spell worked, or are you basically saying that you don't have faith in your power?" And I think that you can definitely, if you start to feel doubt about the spell that you're currently doing, you can definitely redo it. I feel like as long as you're trying to get that energy that you want for the spell, you can do it as many times as you need to, because one of those times it's going to feel right. If you keep feeling that doubt and you're doing something, you're like, I don't know. There's definitely spells that I've redone over and over again because I felt like I didn't harness the energy properly that I needed to. And by the time I got through it like a few times and I was like, oh, here it is. Here I've harnessed the energy. Here it is. I'm able to focus. I'm able to put that energy into what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think 100% I agree. There's nothing wrong with redoing a spell. And I always say, like, if you do a spell and you make a mistake,
Mhm.
all that's going to happen is nothing's going to happen, right? So if you did a spell to, let's say, bring a new lover into your life and you mess it up somehow,
Mhm.
and so all it's going to happen, it's not going to send you into a vortex of never finding a lover ever. It's just going to maintain the status quo of where you've been all that time. So if you don't have a lover and you want a lover and you do a spell to bring a lover, you're just going to stay at that place if you quote unquote mess up the spell. So
Mhm.
redoing a spell is going to you're exactly right in that sense, that it's like something's going to click or something's going to catch or something's going to do it. So you might have to do a spell more than once. I've definitely done spells more than once. When I have a spell that I'm like, oh, that didn't look good, I want to do it over again, or something went wonky, or there's some reason I feel like it didn't really latch on or something, I'll do it over again. And there's also spells where you continually do the spell. There's another kind of spell technique where you light a candle for that, let's say, for prosperity.
Mhm.
When that candle's done, you light another candle for prosperity. And when that one's done, light another one. Now, either you're doing numerologically, you're doing a series of a certain number, or you're doing it until you get the result. And either way, you're going to, keep doing those candles. It's not that you doubt the candle before, but you want to keep that energy high, strong, and you want to hit it over and over again. That's definitely a way of working, too. So redoing a candle or doing it more than once, the thing you don't want to fall into, though, is, I think you would probably agree with me, is that you're doing it out of fear that if you don't do it, you're not going to get the thing, because that fear is a low vibration that will
Yeah.
drag your spell down too,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. So doing like, and I think also too, watch who you get your information from too. Some spellcasters out there are not, there's a lot of unethical spellcasters, just like there's a lot of unethical whatever it is that you name it. I mean, we're seeing all of that come to the surface. Unethical, cops, unethical doctors, unethical, even people. There's some great ones, and then there's some terrible people that get into a profession. And with spellcasters, you can see, that people that are like, oh, I need to burn 15 candles for you, and they're going to cost $500 each or whatever, So you get into some of those things, and they make you feel if you don't do this, you're going to have a curse on you and all of that. So fear is never, really never has a place in magic. If you're operating from fear, that's you need to check that first. Either eliminate the source of the fear if that's a person, or eliminate it within yourself if you're carrying it within yourself. Eliminate that first before you get started, because fear doesn't ever produce anything,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, all right. Do you want me to grab another question for you and hand it to you?
Yeah.
Bruce says, are there better seasons of the year to cast spells, just like there are better seasons to plant seeds? That's an interesting question. What do you think?
I feel like in my personal experience, I haven't really noticed that there's a huge difference between different seasons of the year to cast specific spells. But for the most part, I am doing like personal spells for like self improvement or prosperity, success, all that sort of stuff. So I'm not sure if that really applies to like maybe there's better times to do spells for like a harvest or something if you're a farmer. Like that would probably be the best example of something that I can think of. But I feel like as far as just like any personal goals that you have, it's just the intention and the energy that you have behind it. I don't really think that any season would be more powerful than another.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can do, there's a lot of timings that you can work with on, moon timings and things like that. If you're a pagan or a Wiccan, there are definitely, the Sabbats that you can, kind of tap into that energy of the seasons to do spells that are supported by the energy of that season. Meaning you might, during harvest, and do your spells of gratitude and thanks, or during the beginning of the year, do your spells where you're planting the seeds of what you want to reap for the fall, the year. What do you, so there's kind of that concept you could get to. You could also look at, like, the equinoxes as being times of harmony, balance, equalizing. So there's that you can do. Doing more night moon magic and night magic during the winter time when the nights are longer, doing more sun magic when the sun daylight is longer, and things like that. So I think of those ways, and it's certainly, if you're pagan or Wiccan, that's going to be something that you will tap into. But holidays are great for magic of all kind, even secular holidays, even your birthday. You can do a special spell for your birthday, like what your intention is. It's your new year today. Are you going to do a special spell for that?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. New Year for me, New Year's is meh, it's not my New Year. My New Year
Yeah.
is my birthday, so I treat my birthday as New Year. So this is my time where like I set my intentions for what I want to accomplish during this year. So this is definitely my new year. So I'm gonna be, writing down everything that I want for this year and that I'm going to accomplish.
Oh my gosh. It's just, yes, it's a perfect time. I think birthdays are a great example of a time of the year where you can set an intention, very personal intention for yourself, and a powerful one, because it's the beginning of your year, your beginning of your cycle, and
Mhm.
your wheel of the year goes around. It's so perfect and beautiful. Um, let's go back up. I'm going to go back up toward the top. Um, missed this one. Jennifer has a question about binding spells. So I don't want to do a hex or a curse because I don't want anything to backfire on me. So would a binding spell work just as well? Do you ever do binding spells? Have you ever done a binding spell? No. So with a binding spell, you're stopping something or someone from doing something, right? You're not cursing them, you're just stopping them, right? So, or you're attaching something or someone to you. You could do a binding spell for you and your best friend, make a commitment together to be best friends forever, or you or your lover could make a commitment, and that can be a binding spell. It's attaching, right? It's
Mhm.
either attaching something or someone, or stopping them, right? So here's the thing on that. It depends on your own personal ethics. So some people have the ethical belief of karma, or what goes around comes around, or the rule of the law of three, that whatever you put out there, you're going to get back to you. Some people don't have that ethical construct or concern. So it sounds like, Jennifer, that you do have some of your own magic ethics that says what I put out there comes back to me. So whatever you're binding someone about, you can not do that thing. If your ethical system says what I put out there is going to come back to me, you cannot do that thing that you're doing and expect uh, you can't you can't bind someone for something that you plan to do. Meaning, like for example, I'm in a contest to get a part in a movie. I'm not trying out for any movies. I'm just making this up. I'm going to bind my competitor so that they don't get the movie part and I get the movie part. But that won't work because I have to be under the same rule that I do them, to do to them. So it's going to stop me from getting the movie part as well as stop them. However, if you've got a rapist and you bind them, I think you're probably okay in not raping anybody. And so then you are justified and able to do that binding work because you don't intend to do the thing that you're binding them against doing, right? Does that make sense? So so in that question about the binding spell, that's what you have to keep into consideration. Are you trying to gain something and you're binding someone else from gaining that thing? Or is this something that you want to stop someone from doing that you would never do and you don't plan on doing, right? Then you're all right. Now, another way of working, I'm going to share another way of working that's very clean working. I rarely do a binding spell. I can't even think the last time I do them, once in a while, but I rarely do them. And I always do them about things that are people that are harming someone. These binding spells are great. You have someone that's, um, sexually harassing or doing something. You use a binding spell and stop them from doing it. This is good. So, in your situation, though, I don't know what your situation is, Jennifer, but here's another thing to think about. You can do a reversing spell. That is very, very clean work, ethically clean work, because all you're doing is if someone's sending something negative towards you or someone's harming you, either magically or in material world, you send their energy back to them in a reversing spell. So there's something very clean about that because if they're not doing the thing, then they don't get anything back. If they're not doing anything negative toward you, they're not going to get anything back. But if they do, it's like I am rubber, you are glue, whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. They're going to get their trouble from their negativity that they're sending to you. I'm not sure if that's going to work in your situation, Jennifer, if that's going to work for what you're thinking of, but just in case, I'm going to put that out there. There's things called reversing candles, reversing spells. So take a look at my YouTube channel and you'll see about reversing spells, and that may help you think about another way of looking at something rather than getting into hexing, cursing, which is sending out real strong negativity. Some people don't have any problem. They clean up afterwards and they don't have any problem with receiving any of that negativity back. Binding, you're stopping someone from doing something. As long as you're not going to try and do that thing, you're good. But reversing is the cleanest work of all. You're just sending their negativity back to them and you can go on with your life and not have to worry about it. All right. So let's see. Let's see if I go back here. Everyone's saying happy birthday. Oh my gosh, there's so many happy birthdays.
I can't type with the nails, otherwise I would respond.
All right. So let's see. All right. Oh, well, here's a question we passed over. I'm going back. We're going all out of order. So Kathy wants to know, what's a good way to use law of attraction with a spell? It sounds like you probably do law of attraction work and your spell work, Creme, right?
Yeah, I think for the most part, I do a lot of petitions. It's like my way of using the law of attraction in a spell, writing a petition under the candle. And I also write on the candle, carve into the candle my petition as well, and then use like a good like attraction oil mixed with any other oils that are relevant to what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's pretty much the easiest way that I think, other than, journaling. Um, every single day what you want. I feel like if you're journaling and then you're doing your spells on top of that, that's the most effective.
Yeah, that gratitude journal where you're saying what you're grateful for, but also projecting out what it is that you want to come to you is really powerful work. And it is magical work. We could say that it's law of attraction. I think there's, again, like that crossover where the law of attraction and magic really kind of, there's definitely areas where those crossover, like, that's why my podcast is Magic and the Law of Attraction, because it's about working with that idea that you put out your intention and it comes back to you. And you tapped on something so strong, Creme, which is the idea that you are like your energy being high and using and harnessing that energy is so powerful. Like you being in a state of happiness and joy when you set your intention is some of the biggest juice that you can give to an intention, you know? So if you have that, you know, and you have that opportunity, you just pointed out something so brilliant, which is if you're writing on a success, take that success and send out your next intention right on that success, you know, ride
Mhm.
that wave of good feeling so that you can it's another way of raising energy. You know, witches and Wiccans and pagans will say you raise energy before you do a spell. You're already on, the energy's already raised, and you're just sending out that manifestation, that spell of what it is that you want.
Yeah,
um
definitely.
Lisa, going back, Lisa said something that about our being patient for setting something out there. Sometimes you have to have that patience, leave it be, then in 3D, you will soon see. That's the perfect thing to remember. Um, all right, let's see. Yeah, it's difficult to do at times. Can Mary's asking a question. Can you talk about your manifesting ritual? I mean, is there
Uh,
a ritual that you do or anything like that?
I feel like the journaling is my ritual. Like every night before bed, I do the journaling every single night. I follow the same instructions that you have on your website, just the 2 page what you're grateful for and what you're grateful for that you're getting or that you're
Yeah.
gonna have soon. The 2 page, that's my ritual like every single night.
Oh my gosh, I love that. It's
Sometimes if
such
I'm feeling yeah, if I want a little extra juice, I'll do a little, like, success oil on my hands and then write in the journal for a little just my
so
yeah, a
good.
little extra gas.
So good. I think about that, you know, one of the things that's so great about that gratitude journal that people don't really talk about too much is that you can go back and look at what you've written months later on
Mhm.
that second page and go, oh my gosh, I got that. And oh, I did that. I got that. That came to me. That one's on its way. You know, like you can see your progress, which when you're living in that moment of living very in the present, all you can think about is what you're lacking. But when you
Yeah.
see what you were lacking before it came to you, it can also energize you to do more. So sometimes looking back at your old journals, like I'll do that where I'll look back at my old pages. I'm like, oh my God, I totally forgot that once upon a time I wanted a store. Once upon a time I wanted an office to do readings in.
Mhm.
And and now, you know, it's like all of its stuff has grown and grown and grown since then, and how amazing that growth has been. So, you know, you kind of forget it because all you're thinking about is like, oh my God, I got to do this thing, or this one needs fixing, or, you know, you think about you're looking forward into the future. You're not looking back and remembering where you were before. Do you ever
Mhm.
do that? Do you ever look back at your old entries?
Yeah, definitely, and I'm like, "Wait a second, I accomplished pretty much everything on this list," and even most recently, when I had been journaling sometimes when you journal, you ask for the same stuff over and over and over again, you're kinda,
Yeah.
like, forgetting that you're asking for it, and then it happens and you're like, "Wait a second, I just got that. I don't have to ask for this again." So for me, most recently, in the past, like, maybe 6 months or more, I've been, visualizing, dreaming about like a new home that has, greenery and like lots of windows and lots of light and more space and all this stuff and was asking for it and asking for it and asking for it. And then a pipe burst in my current home and it just got, all molded and was like unsafe to live. So we had to find a new place to live, which was very stressful. And immediately and like found like the most beautiful place and signed the lease and moved out like within a week of getting all these inspections done because like half of our home was inhabitable. And then when I looked back, I was like, wait a second, I have all the windows. Now I have greenery outside my windows. Now I have more space. Like, this is everything that I was asking for that happened in a way that was maybe unconventional or stressful while I was living through it, but I got what I asked for. And that was, I think, the most recent example of uh, how that worked and like looking back and being like, wait a second, check off the list every single thing that I wanted.
Oh my gosh. Well, I can see your beautiful house behind you. Your beautiful house with the big windows and the greenery.
Right?
It's amazing. Looks like a fairy house. I
Yeah.
love it.
I'm a great interior decorator.
Yeah, I think that practice is such a, you know, it's such a simple practice, but it's such a powerful practice. It really just it's a daily practice. I tell people to do a gratitude journal. Try it for 30 days and see what transpires and what changes and what improves over those 30 days. And I think most people that will commit to doing it for 30 days will stick with it because they start to see the transformation and the progress and the open doors and all the things that positively transform when you do that work. And it's very, very powerful work. And I think of it as being very magical work. That really does feel magical to me. And that's where I think those two things cross over, that law of attraction and that ritual. We're talking about manifesting ritual.
Mhm.
Um, let's see what we have here. Okay. Um, Hi, how are you guys? Odessa says, what can you do every day to keep your roads open and how do you dispose of work at the crossroads? So two questions. What can you do every day to keep your roads open? So that roads open concept is that you want to not having blocks, that everything is flowing easy, that you get to where you're going without hindrances and so on.
Mhm. I personally don't do that work for myself. I've done it a few times, but this is usually where I will go get outside help from from a somebody who, knows a little bit more than I do or works a little bit more with that kind of magic. For me, I'm like great at manifesting, great at asking for stuff. Have pretty good success when it comes to opening my roads. That's when I'll go to somebody that is a little bit more handy with divination and get work done for myself.
Yeah. It may be, too, I think you underestimate what you're doing because I think you're opening your roads every time you have confidence and believe in what's
Mhm.
coming to you and send it out in a strong, powerful way, whether you're doing it in the gratitude journal or you're doing it in your, writing your high and you're saying, okay, this is the next thing I'm going to accomplish. I think that's a way of opening up your roads because you're giving a burst. It's almost like rotor rooter going through the pipes
Mhm.
and cleaning it out because you're putting a strong, powerful intention of positivity out there. So I
Mhm.
think you're doing your own road opener work, but you don't know that you're doing it. I think that in terms of like doing keeping your roads open, one of the easiest things to do is just to kind of maintenance do it. Like yes, you can do a candle or you can do something. Working with orange candles, for example, is very, very good. You could pick an orange candle around the topic that you're working on that you feel blocked in and remembering that road opener work and blockbuster work are slightly different. They think of them, people often think they're the same thing. Road opener work is just like gently pushing aside anything that's going to be keeping your flow from going as fast as it can and as smoothly as it can. Blockbuster is when you're hitting up against hard blocks, like you really can't get through that thing and you're facing something that feels almost like it's excessively hard to get through, glass ceilings, or you're trying and trying and trying to do something and you're not, you're just not progressing. So then you would resort to blockbuster. But road opener, I think of as more like, oh, just I'm going to push aside, this thing and just keep going, right? So maintenance for road opener can be wearing open roads oil. Open roads oil is meant to support your good outcomes, to clear the path. You can just put it on yourself whenever you're feeling like, yeah, I want to have, that open, smooth path. But you could also do, set a candle if you feel like you need to give it a little extra boost, or you could do a vigil candle, do a candle spell with an orange candle. I mean, there's lots of things that you can do to open up that if you feel like you need a little bit more. But open roads is very nice. How do you dispose of your work at the crossroads? Crossroads is good for getting rid of work. And I always say we don't want to be littering. So either there's a couple of ways. One of the ways, actually, a colleague of mine, Ruth Oshman, told me about this, and I thought that's brilliant. She takes her crossroads work that she's disposing of the crossroads. She finds a gas station near an intersection and drops it in their trash can right next to the crossroads. I think of like, I think, oh, that's brilliant. If you're disposing of something and you're not littering, but you're leaving it at the crossroads, right? And you're
Yeah.
leaving it in a way that's respectful and not leaving trash. If you're leaving something that's totally disposable, I think you can leave things like one of the things I can recommend about leaving things at the crossroads. Wrap what you have, like your candle spell remains, your herbs, not glass, but your herbs, your wax. If you have beeswax, that's especially biodegradable. wrap it up in a paper bag or piece of paper and fold it up and then leave it there. It's still trash, but at least it's biodegradable. It's not plastic, it's not glass. It's going to hurt somebody or something like that. Another way to do it is to symbolically leave it at the crossroads. So you can just take a piece of your wax, a tiny piece of the wax of your candle that's, the size of a quarter, and leave it at the crossroads there, and take the rest of it and dispose of it. If it's something that you want to come to you, you dispose of it in your own trash. If it's something you want to get away from you, you dispose of it in someone else's far away gas station trash. But you can leave a symbolic piece of your spell work at the crossroads to keep that energy going out toward the crossroads. You don't have to dispose of all of it, and you don't have to dispose of everything at the crossroads. That's another way that I like to do that disposal at the crossroads, so that it's not like you're leaving a pile of trash in the middle of a road or something like that. All right, so let's see. We got how do you know? Okay, this is an interesting question. Odessa says, how do you know if someone is working to block you spiritually from love, finances, etc.? Have you ever felt like you had a block, Creme, with
I don't
someone?
think so. I don't think I felt that before.
Yeah. I think that you will find that there's sort of ways of knowing. First of all, I'd say if you want to find out for sure, if you get a reading with someone, they can tell you. Find a reputable reader that you trust, somebody that you know is going to be honest with you, but also is not going to try and talk you into, $50,000 in spell work or something like that. But find someone that you trust, and then get a reading from them and ask them that question and see what comes up in the reading. Or you can do a reading for yourself if you know how to do a reading. Or you can ask a pendulum. Even you don't even have to know how to do tarot cards. You can take a pendulum and ask, is so and so blocking me? Is so and so blocking me? You can find out who it is just by doing that. If you feel like you have a block of some kind, the thing that I recommend is doing bath work, bath spells. So you can work with bath crystals. You can do like anything from one time bath. If it's like a light thing, or you feel like, oh, it's just like a little funk that I picked up. Or if you feel like there's some hard, heavy work, you can go up to 13 consecutive baths. So one bath each day over 13 consecutive days. That will remove anything. That will remove the hardest curses. That will remove anything, that ancestral curses or whatever you've got. I mean, you can throw anything at 13 baths will clean up anything. So if you're feeling like you're blocked, or you're having this sense that you're blocked, or something is preventing you from getting what it is that you want, you can take those baths and see if that helps your situation. Start with one. You'll feel a little bit better. Use a clean towel and dress in clean clothes once you get out of the bath, or clean pajamas, whatever it is. And then repeat as necessary. So that's a way that you can work in that way. MJS says, can business spells be lit during business hours? Well, you can answer that question. You've done business spells during business hours.
I definitely have. I think it's pretty useful depending on how immediate you want your results. For me, the experience that I've had with that is doing it during performances, or, during shows that I'm in, to try to help the success. And I found pretty good success with that.
Yeah, it's nice to have that. Oftentimes you can burn, you don't have to burn a candle to do a business spell. You can burn incense, for example. If you want to do something different, and maybe you can't have a candle, but you can have incense at work. And oftentimes people, especially spiritual businesses, will have incense burning throughout the day. You can choose an incense like patchouli incense, or what else is a good one that I'm thinking of right now? Patchouli is great for bringing in money and abundance. Cinnamon incense is great for bringing in abundance. Those are kinds of blends that you can find. I mean, I sell stick incense, beautiful Japanese stick incense that just smells amazing. It isn't aggravating to the lungs or the breathing. It's really super clean burning and beautiful, real herbs in it, and it smells amazing. So you can burn incense, or you can make your own incense and burn on a charcoal, resins and herbs and things like that, for bringing in business. And that can be a way to imbue your space, whatever that space is, whether it's your performance space or your, business that you have, a shop that you have, or the place where you're working, the office where you're working, home office where you're working, you can imbue it with that beautiful energy by doing that. If you don't want to do a candle, but a candle going is also very nice and gentle and kind of keeps that energy going. So yeah. Um, Angel Lael, I don't know if I'm saying that right, says Happy New Year, Creme Fatale.
Oh, thank you.
Huawei says, Creme Fatale, seeing that you're very creative and original, how often do you do a protection spell to ward off negativity and jealousy?
That's actually a good question. I don't think I've ever done a protection spell, actually.
That's good.
I think I just focus on my own personal success so much that I don't really have an eye for the haters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? Can I tell a story about you? Because I'm stalking you and I know everything about you. um, when I think there's what I call spiritual jujitsu. Now, I'm probably not getting it right because I'm not a martial arts expert, but I think jujitsu is the one where you take the energy of the person and kind of use it toward your, and like that, whatever they're bringing to you, use it back at them, kind of thing. And I think when we have situations where there are people who are ripping us off, for example, or stealing from us, or jealous people, or people that are sending negativity, we can actually take that and transform it and use it to bolster our energy without even getting into it with them. And it's a subtle art, but Creme Fatale has done it. And do you want to tell them about your baseball caps that you have on your Etsy page?
Oh yeah, so I have gotten some pretty negative comments. Just because being a woman that does drag, not a lot of people are familiar with the long history of not only women but people of all gender identities doing drag for a very long time. A lot of people assume that drag is just for cis male, like a female impersonation sort of thing versus like gender expression and creativity. So I do get some pretty negative comments on my page, and one of them being, where's the transformation, sis? Where somebody was trying to bring me down and basically say that there was no difference between the makeup that I have now and me, just regular every day, which is pretty ridiculous.
Crazy. I mean, it'd be great to be like that every day, but when you see her videos where she starts with the blank canvas and the transformation that happens, to ask where's the transformation means somebody doesn't have eyes in their head. But okay, go on. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. The way that I turned that around on them was to literally put the phrase on merch, just because I thought it was really funny, because obviously there's a huge difference. So that didn't even like phase me. It was like the way that they said it. It was really, really funny to me, the way that they worded it. So I put it like literally on t-shirts, on baseball caps. I sold it as merch and just made money from it. So I was just like, okay, I'm blocking you, but I'm stealing that catchphrase. Thanks.
Yeah, that's exactly what that transformation is about. That jujitsu is about, is like taking the hater's energy and flipping it so that you benefit from their energy. And I think about like one of the things that Adam Rippon, the figure skater that was in the Olympics, the Winter Olympics. Mm-hmm. Okay, they had this thing where they gave him this little placard to hold up that said, I want to thank, and then it left a blank. So people would write, my mom or my coach or whoever that they were saying. And he wrote, my haters, like, I want to thank blank for getting me here. And he said, I want to thank my haters for getting me here, because I love that freaking picture so much, because it says that jujitsu energy transformation where you can take the energy of your haters, you can take jealous energy, you can take that and you can transform it. And your cap is exactly that, because you took that energy, you laughed at it and go, it's like, give me a break. And then you turned it into a catchphrase and then put it on everything to just kind of like go like, yeah, like a boss. I gotta say, you did it like a boss.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, there's a whole, we're running out of time. We're almost at the end of the show, but there is a whole history that I wanted to get into about like physical equipment not being there not being a defined thing of like, you need to have this certain plumbing to get in to do drag. And I
Okay.
was talking before the show, I was talking about this long history of that with the Coquettes. I have this book that Fayette Hauser wrote, and I met her in a writers group. Sorry, my ring light is making a big old shiny thing. But the Coquettes were in the 60s. They were drag performers, but artists, and they were cis male, cis female, everybody, every flavor. I'm sure all kinds of gender, other non-binary things that were
Mhm.
going on in there, but people were dressing up in amazing, fabulous drag, and nobody was saying, gatekeeping and saying you can't do this because of your body part that you were born with, and there wasn't that gatekeeping that was going on. Everybody was in it, was an artist and expressive, and nobody was stopping anyone, and everybody was doing it. So it was, I feel like you're like the descendant of the Coquettes, which is different than female impersonation.
Mhm.
You're doing drag, you're not doing female impersonation. There's no
Yeah.
need for you to do female impersonation, but you're doing drag. But you know what? So is Dolly Parton doing drag, you
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
you
Yeah.
know, Cher's doing drag.
All of them, Lady Gaga, pretty much every single female artist right now is doing drag, which is why like drag queens pay tribute to them so much. It's because they're doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel you on the Coquettes because I was so lucky to grow up like around San Francisco in the Bay Area and to start doing drag in San Francisco. Because once I put my mind to like wanting to do drag and being a drag queen and started doing it in San Francisco, the Coquettes were already there in the 60s. Like my appearance in the scene was not a shock to anybody. Women were already doing drag for decades in San Francisco. There was never a question as to the validity of my drag and what I was doing. They definitely like opened a huge gateway for people of all gender identities to do drag, and changed it from just female impersonation to actual expression of gender, which I think is really important for people to know that it's not just like cis men dressing up as women and having that be the shock and the point of doing drag. It's being able to express your experience in your body and your gender and your skin color. There's so many people of color that are cis that do drag that use drag to perform their experiences so that people understand them better, people of different gender variants, and for people to say that only men can do drag, especially just like a cis white male who already has the most privilege in our society, is different than like a woman who has different experiences with discrimination, or a trans woman who has all these experiences in so many different genders and things that we will never be able to comprehend as cis people. And that needs to be put out there through drag. It's the ability to teach people your experience and show them different things. So there's like fun numbers that we have, like drag queens have like really fun numbers. Sometimes I want to do an Ariana Grande song on a Tuesday night for no reason, just to have fun. There's other times that I'm doing numbers that are really like deep and near to my heart and express something that I've gone through in my life. So I think it's really important to find people that have different backgrounds, different gender expressions in drag, and being able to learn about the world that way.
I think it's so amazing and so great. And I think that the future of this is like the future of drag, where it's just really inclusive, and everyone who appreciates and enjoys it and loves to express themselves in that way is there's none of this gatekeeping too,
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that's so important. I think another thing before we go, it's like, if you want to see that old original concept of where this came from, watch a John Waters movie,
Mhm.
right? So John Waters movie has Divine, who's a cis male dressing up in drag, right? But we also have like Mink Stole, who's
Yep.
a cis female who's dressing up in drag. And John Waters didn't just, he dressed everyone up in wild and crazy and amazing costumes.
Mhm.
Or Edie the Egg Lady, another cis woman,
Mhm.
cis female, so who was able to like express herself with drag. Sorry, that was my thing beeping. I must have Facebook open or something. Anyway, so we have all these you know, these expressions. And I think in the 60s, when everyone was, you were just a freak, that's what they were looking at. It was that kind of artistic expression that we have this now. I think that's kind of like what is the four parents of what you're doing now, is so beautiful. So I love it. Well, our time is up. This was an amazing conversation, amazing questions from you guys. It was so fun to get together and to talk about magic and to talk about spells. Oh, your Etsy. Someone's asking, what's your Etsy address? So we got to put that up there. What is your Etsy address?
My Etsy, if you look up just Etsy and Creme Fatale merch, all one word, you should be able to find it. But if you follow me on Instagram at Creme Fatale, you'll find all of the links to all of the shops, my YouTube, all of that great stuff. I have some tutorials up there if you want any Halloween makeup help. There's some pretty cool tutorials that can help you achieve like a really good costume. But there'll be links to my merch and everything right on there.
Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. And if you want to be entertained, thanks so much, Lady Raven, for putting that up. Lady Raven put it over in the chat. If you want to be entertained, watch Creme Fatale do the transformation. Where's the transformations? I'll show you the transformation. It's amazing to see her go from that very blank canvas of no makeup, just foundation. And then you apply it so skillfully. It's better than Bob Ross. I'm sorry. It's more relaxing than Bob Ross and better. It's amazing to watch that transformation that you do. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks so much, you guys, for joining us here. Next week is going to be the Foundations of Candle Magic. So I hope I see some of you guys there. It's going to be amazing. And then we'll be back the following week. And my guest will be, I don't even know who it is. I'm so unprepared, you guys. Oh my God. My guest will be, let me get to my website super quick. Oh my gosh, I'm a slow old lady. I'm becoming a slow old lady. Who's my guest next week? I think it's Divine Hand Jim, but I might be wrong. Maybe it's someone else. Let's see. Oh no, let's see. Oh, I don't even have it up. It's going to be a surprise. It's going to be a surprise. It might be Divine Hand Jim. It might be someone else. I've got some great guests coming up though. I have to update it. I've been busy signing books and packing books in the warehouse. That's what I've been doing, you guys. You think my life is glamorous? I'm in jeans and a t-shirt, shipping boxes of candles and books. I love it, but it's not glamorous. And I have to get back to doing all this other stuff too and getting that going. Well, thanks so much, Creme Fatale. Thank you so much for joining us here. You are a delight. Happy, 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 happy birthday to you.
Yeah. And guess what I got for my birthday?
What?
I got a Madame Pamita gift card. So expect a reading invitation appointment soon.
Oh my God. Well, I'm going to tack, when I see that invitation, that appointment, I'm going to tack on some extra time for your birthday. How's that?
Oh, thank you.
Thanks so much, you guys, for joining us. We'll see you next week if you're going to be in class, and we'll see you in 2 weeks if you're just coming to the Q&A. Thanks again. Thanks again, Creme Fatale. Have an amazing birthday. Make big wishes for your blowing out your candles, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.